If you're visiting the Disneyland Resort theme park soon, you may be considering getting Disney Genie Plus to help you skip the bulk of the lines. However, after seeing that minimum $30 per person price tag, you may be wondering, is Disney Genie Plus worth it for my trip? So I'm gonna help you out. In this video, we're gonna cover everything that you need to know about Disney Genie Plus, including what it is, which rides it works with, why you may or may not need it, and ultimately help you decide, is it worth it for your next visit? And before we get into everything, let me introduce myself. My name's David Vaughn. I'm a theme park content creator. And if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button because it helps my channel grow. And I can also provide you more Disneyland tips in the future. So first up, what is Disney Genie Plus? Well, if you've gone to Disneyland in the past, you may have noticed that there was something called Fast Pass, which helps skip the lines. These were individual tickets given out at the queues for the rides, and it would give you a return time to come back with your party and ride the attraction without waiting in the long part of the line. Instead, the most popular attractions like Space Mountain and Big Thunder Mountain had separate lines from the main queues that actually skipped past a lot of the waiting and got you faster into the ride. Now, these weren't instantaneous. Most of the time, you have to wait at least a little bit to get onto the attraction. However, for most attractions, it does save a lot of the time when you use this Fast Pass line. But anyway, Disney has done away with Fast Pass, and now instead they've implemented Disney Genie Plus. However, the lightning lanes are actually the same lanes as the previous Fast Pass lanes. They just have their name changed into Lightning Lane. So if you used Fast Pass before, you kind of got a feel about how it works. However, Disney Genie Plus also uses the Disneyland app. So now guests have to use the Disneyland app not only to purchase Disney Genie Plus, but also to use it once they're inside the park. And while I do have a separate video describing how to add Disney Genie Plus, currently the 2024 pricing starts at $30 per person per day. It is important to note that this price could change depending on the day that you go. So if you visit during the week, it might be $30 that day, but then if you visit on the weekend, it could bump up to $35, maybe even $40 per person. As a general rule, it's typically cheaper during the week when it's not like a holiday or around the holidays. But if you're going on a weekend or a major holiday, you might see that price increase quite a bit. We haven't seen Disney Genie Plus hit $50 per person per day just yet, but I think it's safe to say it's coming. The good news is if you purchase Disney Genie Plus in advance when you buy your tickets, you will actually get locked in at that price, so you don't have to worry about it fluctuating when you go. If you don't buy it in advance, you will have to purchase it once you enter the park. You can do so on the Disneyland app. All right, so next up, which attractions actually work with Disney Genie Plus? Because not all attractions do. The one purchase of Disney Genie Plus actually does cover you for both parks that day. So if you purchase a park hopper ticket, no need to buy a second Disney Genie Plus for Disney California Adventure or vice versa. You can actually just pay the one fee and it works for both parks. So here's a list of attractions that work with Disney Genie Plus at Disneyland Park. These currently include Autopia, Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, Buzz Lightyear Astro Blasters, Haunted Mansion, Indiana Jones Adventure, It's a Small World, Matterhorn Bobsleds, Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, the Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run, Roger Rabbit's Cartoon Spin, Spacebound, and Star Tours The Adventures Continue. However, since Haunted Mansion's been taken off the list, Disneyland actually temporarily added Pirates of the Caribbean. So I'm expecting that Pirates of the Caribbean will be on Disney Genie Plus and have its own lightning lane through the summer. And at Disney California Adventure Park, you can access the lightning lanes for these following attractions when you book with Disney Genie Plus. This is going to be Goofy Sky School, Grizzly River Run, Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout, Incredicoaster, The Little Mermaid Ariel's Undersea Adventure, Monsters Inc. Mike and Sully to the Rescue, Soarin' over California, Toy Story Midway Mania, and Web Slingers A Spider-Man Adventure. Now, you might be wondering, hey, where is Star Wars Rise of the Resistance and also Radiator Springs Racers? Well, those are actually included in something called an individual lightning lane. These are attractions that have lightning lanes, however, you cannot book them with Disney Genie Plus. Instead, you would actually need to pay a separate cost to book these, and they can get pretty pricey. In fact, Star Wars Rise of the Resistance can be over $20 per person per day. And that's just a one-time use. You pay that once and you get to skip the bulk of the line. Though Radiator Springs Racers is less, it can often be a better benefit to buy Radiator Springs Racers than Star Wars Rise of the Resistance, seeing that Radiator Springs Racers often has a longer line throughout the day. And while you don't need to purchase individual lightning lanes or Disney Genie Plus at all, if you wish to use the lightning lanes, yes, you will need to either purchase Disney Genie Plus or an individual lightning lane, or both. And no, you don't need to purchase Disney Genie Plus to purchase an individual lightning lane. Now, if a ride is not listed here, then that means it does not have an individual lightning lane and you will need to wait in the standard line. In addition, though we don't have confirmation for this just yet, I do suspect that Tiana's Bayou Adventure, the replacement of Splash Mountain, will use a paid individual lightning lane and not be included as part of Disney Genie Plus. Again, this hasn't been confirmed, but it's pretty typical that we see this, like when Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway first opened, and then later on it was added to Disney Genie Plus. All right, so now we're gonna talk about some of the pros and cons of using Disney Genie Plus. First off, obviously the pros are that you get to skip a bulk of the lines. And like I said earlier, it's not always all of the line. Most of the time you still have to wait maybe 5 to 15 minutes depending on the attraction. But also keep in mind, the longer the line that day, the more time that you'll probably also have to wait in the lightning lane. So here's the thing, if you're going on a day that's actually not very busy, Disney Genie Plus kind of works the best, because not only will you have a lot more lightning lane availability to book, because yes, some of the attractions can book up, which is a big negative. You might be able to use lightning lane for almost all of the attractions that you want to experience that day if you know how to maximize them, which I'll talk about a little bit later. In addition, sometimes you might see posted wait times for attractions, but they're actually a lot shorter than posted. For example, there have been many times I've seen the Matterhorn posted about 50 minutes, but then when I waited, it was actually only 30 minutes, or sometimes even only 15 minutes. And while yes, it does seem that Disneyland likes to overinflate its times rather than underinflate, because if you think about it from a guest experience standpoint, you'd rather wait in line less than what's posted than more than what's posted. A lot of the times it is actually very accurate, so you don't really know what you're gonna get. Even if you look at the line, sometimes it's a little bit hard to tell. But generally speaking, with Lightning Lane, you will save a lot of time. But the negative side is if you go on a very busy day, you may only be able to use Disney Genie Plus for a few rides rather than several rides. But also another thing is not all lightning lanes are created equal. Some of them cut the line a lot better than others. So here is a list of actual attractions that I recommend using Disney Genie Plus for. At Disneyland Park, we have Space Mountain, Haunted Mansion, Matterhorn, Big Thunder, and Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. Sometimes these fluctuate, so sometimes Big Thunder's busier than the Matterhorn. Space Mountain is usually, though, the best value for this. And then over at Disney California Adventure, you're gonna have Guardians of the Galaxy, Toy Story Midway Mania, Web Slingers, A Spider-Man Adventure, and Soarin', as well as Monsters, Inc., which isn't always that busy, but can be very busy, especially if you're bringing kids on a busy holiday weekend. So then what are the attractions that don't work as well? There is a surprising worst attraction for Lightning Lane, in my opinion, but runners up are probably Autopia, Buzz Lightyear Astro Blasters, and Star Tours. However, Star Tours is getting new scenes this year, so it's very possible we'll see longer lines for that for a bit. And over at Disney California Adventure, The Little Mermaid rarely needs Lightning Lane. However, if you're going during a very busy time like spring break or the week between Christmas and New Year's Eve, you may see long waits at all of the attractions, so getting Disney Genie Plus is gonna help you save time no matter which one you do. So then what is the worst attraction for Disney Genie Plus? Well, I'm gonna have to say it's the Indiana Jones Adventure. And that's just because you only skip the outside part of the line, and most of the line is actually inside the temple. However, the Lightning Lane does not go through the inside of the temple. It only cuts the outside part. And so if you don't see anybody waiting outside, or you just see a very short wait right outside of the temple, then yeah, you're only gonna be skipping about 3 to 5 minutes of the line. Now, on a very busy day, of course, you may see that line wind all the way around, and then it's gonna save you a ton of time. But still keep in mind, if you're seeing a 45-minute posted wait time for Indiana Jones Adventure, you might be waiting like 40 minutes. And it's funny too, because a lot of guests book this one thinking it's gonna save them a lot of time, but in reality, you're better off booking Space Mountain, Big Thunder Mountain, or Matterhorn even. So another con to using Disney Genie Plus could be if you're bringing kids. Especially young kids under the age of 6, there's just not as many attractions that would appeal to them, or they may have height restrictions that bar them from riding. So just for reference, here's a list of Disney Genie Plus attractions that actually don't have height restrictions. So that's gonna be Buzz Lightyear Astro Blasters, It's a Small World, Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway also does not have a height restriction, Haunted Mansion Pirates of the Caribbean, which of course is only temporary, and Roger Rabbit's Cartoon Spin. And over at Disney California Adventure, there's no height restriction for The Little Mermaid, Monsters, Inc., Toy Story Mania, or Web Slingers. Now, if you plan on riding all of those attractions, especially Toy Story Midway Mania, which has pretty long lines typically throughout the day, Disney Genie Plus still could be a really good benefit. However, if you're planning on riding a lot of the Fantasyland attractions, like Peter Pan's Flight or Alice in Wonderland, just keep in mind, they don't have lightning lanes, so your Disney Genie Plus will not work for them. So let's just say you're at the point where you're like, hey, I don't think I'm gonna get Disney Genie Plus. I'm just gonna wait in the lines for the few attractions I'm gonna ride. Here's why you may still want to purchase Disney Genie Plus. One of the biggest benefits is that it actually comes with a limited photo pass downloads. So if you're riding an attraction like Radiator Springs Racers or Space Mountain, it takes your picture on the ride. And also there are Disney photographers all around the park, like in front of the castle, waiting to take your picture. If they take your photo or a ride does, with Disney Genie Plus, you get unlimited PhotoPass downloads of that picture and you can post them online and do what you want with them. These are really fun ways to capture memories of your trip. And Disney photographers can also add in things like magic shots with have characters in them. So it could be really worth it. In fact, I really love this feature of Disney Genie Plus. If you decided to go that route, only one person in your party would need to purchase Disney Genie Plus. Just make sure that you sync all those photos to that person in their Disneyland app. That way you can download them on their profile. There's also another fun feature called Audio Tales. This is a great tool for if you really want to learn more about your trip when you visit. I highly recommend that you bring earbuds for this, but you can actually listen to Disney Imagineers describe certain parts of lands and attractions as you're visiting them. This is also available in the Disneyland app only if you purchase Disney Genie Plus, but there are other benefits too, like Snapchat style filters and fun things to do. Kids usually really like these, like tweens, but hey, I think they're really fun too and kind of get really silly. So yeah, you do get more benefits than just skipping the lines, but really the main reason that folks purchase this is so they don't have to wait in line. So lastly, what are some more tips that you could use if you decide to purchase Disney Genie Plus and head to the parks? The first one I would definitely say is get to the park early. A lot of times I hear folks complain that they rolled in around 9:30, 10 a.m. and a lot of the attractions were already booked up. Remember, you actually have to go inside the gate to first purchase your Disney Genie Plus if you didn't buy it with your ticket in advance, so you won't be able to use it from your hotel room. Also, if the other guests haven't scanned into the park, you won't be able to use their tickets either until they're actually physically scanned into the park with Disney Genie Plus add-on onto their ticket. So you couldn't just send one person out, have them book everyone's lightning lanes and then head back. You gotta make sure that you're there with everybody. So my recommendation, if you're trying to get a ton of rides done in one day, get to the park maybe 30 minutes before it opens. Sometimes you can book your lightning lanes a little bit early, but as soon as you can, I would start booking your lightning lanes. You may want to first head over to a ride that doesn't use Disney Genie Plus because you've already booked a lightning lane, let's say for Space Mountain early. And then once you've used your lightning lane, once they've scanned you and once you're in the line, you can actually book another lightning lane right away. So that's a really great second tip. While you're waiting in line, look for the next available lightning lane, book that next one, and you're ready to go. You can do them in succession just like that. However, you can only book a ride once. You cannot, let's say, want to book Space Mountain back to back to back. You can only book a lightning lane for Space Mountain once per day. Third thing, I would use that list that I just posted a bit earlier talking about which attractions have the most demand and which ones you should book first. Another cool tip is if you've already booked a Disney Genie Plus lightning lane and it's more than 2 hours ahead, you can actually book a second lightning lane once that 2-hour mark hits. So for example, let's say you didn't take my advice and you head to the park at 9 a.m. and your next lightning lane isn't for Space Mountain until 1 p.m. Then 2 hours later at 11 a.m., you can book a second lightning lane for a different attraction. If you try to book it too early, the app typically tells you how long you have until you can book another attraction. And once you've used all your lightning lanes, then you can book another or another 2 hours from that point. If you have any questions about Disney Genie Plus, feel free to leave them in the comments below. I'll do my best to answer. Also, if you like this video and you found it helpful, make sure you hit the subscribe button. It helps my channel out. I also have a Patreon account with even more bonus Disneyland tips and behind the scenes content from my videos, as well as a ton more fun stuff. You can check it out in the link in the description.